In this video, I want to show you how to prepare braised Chinese style ribs, a very easy to make traditional Chinese recipe. If you can't imagine how it tastes like, let's cook up a storm by following this step-by-step guide, and you will be amazed how tasty it is. I've divided this recipe into 4 simple steps. Let's take a look. Step 1. Blanch the pork ribs. Prepare a pot of boiling water and then place the pork ribs into the pot. And make sure the amount of water is sufficient to submerge the entire rib. And then you just wait and bring the water to a boil. Wait for 5 minutes and then remove the ribs and drain. Blanching the pork rib is an essential pre-treatment before proceeding to braise. Some pork ribs may have a strong gamey taste, and blanching can effectively remove the unpleasant taste of the pork. Don't worry, this process will not reduce the flavor since it takes only 5 minutes. Step 2. Prepare the braising liquid. The herb, spices, and seasoning in the braising liquid define the complex and yet subtle flavor of the pork ribs. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil into the large saucepan. Then add slices of ginger, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 stalks of scallion, 1 star anise, and 1 stick of cinnamon, which is about 5 cm length. Saute over low heat. Until they turn aromatic. Next, add 2 tablespoons of fermented soybean paste. 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. And 4 teaspoons of oyster sauce. 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, and then 4 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine. And lastly, add some water and bring it to a boil. Step 3. Braise the pork ribs. And now you have completed most of the work. What you need to do now is just place the pork ribs in the saucepan and start braising it over low heat with the lid on. Now you can sit back and relax, have your coffee break, or pick up a storybook or whatever you want to do. All you need is to check the progress of the braise occasionally. This recipe is my favorite because the preparation is incredibly simple. It is mostly passive cooking, means you just let it braise without doing anything. You'll be pleasantly surprised the aromatic flavor as a result of the interplay of the oriental spices. Now, do you realize that there's no salt in the recipe? The soybean paste, light soy sauce, the oyster sauce all contains salt, which will provide sufficient saltiness to the recipe. Now bear in mind, the amount of salt in different brands of soybean paste, light soy sauce, and oyster sauce are not the same. I always like to adjust the saltiness of the sauce right before serving. If you follow this recipe, the saltiness is just right in most cases, but you can add additional salt and light soy sauce during the final adjustment if you need. Bear in mind that you are braising the rib for 3 hours. The meat will eventually be so soft that it just falls off from the bone. And since the rib is only partially submerged in the liquid, it is best to turn the ribs over occasionally to ensure even cooking. Now lastly, the actual duration of braising depends on the heat and whether it is covered. It takes about 3 hours, but you can always stop short once the meat is tender and soft. Step 4. Thicken the sauce. As I said earlier, you need about 3 hours to braise the pork ribs, and I'm sure you do not want to wait for me in this video. So, here is another pork rib that have been braised until soft and tender. You have to remove the ribs from the saucepan and place it on a large plate. Then add some cornstarch slurry to thicken the liquid to form a thick sauce. The goal is to form a thick sauce that will cling onto the ribs. That for sure will tenderize your taste buds. Pour the thick sauce over the rib. Garnish with scallion and serve. Chinese spare ribs are best to serve with steamed white rice along with some leafy vegetables, and I guarantee that will make your belly rumbles. Thanks for joining me in this video. If you like this recipe, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and get the recipe from our blog, tasteasianfood.com, Chinese spare ribs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.